Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a beautiful brand new day, and welcome to Earth's Ascension with Ortrun and Carl Franklin. Good morning, Ortrun and Carl.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dana. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, happy to be with you. And yes, well, even those others that'll join in later or listen to this later, we're so happy that you're a part of this.
I'm really looking forward to your subject matter this morning.
Well, hey.
Well, what's the topic today, Carl?
Well, we're dealing with balance, and they were talking to me for an hour this morning about the topic, and they want us to expand. It isn't just balance on the earth, but they said the whole universe is in the process of being rebalanced. And the earth has a key role to play in this part of our galaxy. And it's interesting that we, the light workers, have a major role to play in this too, as does all of humanity. Because where balance begins, and this is bedrock, and this is where it has to begin, and where it has to be accomplished first, is in our own thoughts, in our own emotions, in our own life. And for me, and I'm going to project this to you too, the hardest part of ascension for me is having the self-discipline during all of my waking time to be aware of the thoughts that are in my mind. And secondly, to be aware of the emotions that are being created by these thoughts. And that's where balance begins. And that's what's necessary to have balance not only in our life, but in our relationships, in our home. And if we're out of balance, well, would you say right now that the earth is out of balance? I certainly would. You know, looking at the weather extremes and all of the crazy stuff going on the planet. Well, that's coming. The root cause of that is the human imbalance. The imbalance in our own consciousness, in our thoughts, and our emotions. That's being reflected on the world stage. And if you're at all sensitive to, for example, to nature, to particularly the spirit realm and nature, to what we call the devas, the nature spirits, our emotional state affects them. And they affect the weather. All right? And the earth itself is in part out of balance at this time because we humans are out of balance. Now, we're limited in what we as an individual can do. And the one thing we can do is to keep ourselves in balance. Do not hold on to negative, judgmental, critical thoughts. As soon as you're aware of them, replace them with a positive thought. And that's the one thing that we can do. And that's going to greatly bring balance in our life because out of positive thoughts come positive emotions. Positive thoughts and emotions are constructive. They are helpful. They are empowering. Whereas negative thoughts lead to negative emotions that take a lot of energy and they disempower us. So we can, our role here is if we have enough people, and the light workers are critical here, to be constantly or as often as possible in a positive, upbeat state of mind and feeling. That's going to change the energy in our life, which is going to change the energy in our home and in our family. There's the ripple effect here, and it will even change the nature around our home, and it affects, well, we don't know how far it goes up, but probably, ultimately, it spreads throughout the universe. But the energy of one person is a drop in the ocean. But if we have buckets of people, all if we have millions of people who are staying positive, constructive, it has an effect in a much larger area. You may have heard us in the past talk about Jim Gore. He was a nuclear physicist. He was the commander of a nuclear submarine. And after that, the Pentagon asked him to come into the Pentagon to block the Russian minds that were probing and getting our secrets. And that was his final job with the government, to create a barrier to identify when these Russian minds were probing and to stop them, all right? Now, when he retired, he set up a spiritual center in North Carolina, and he sponsored trips about once a month. And the trips were to basically the cities or the areas of the world that were going through the greatest challenges. And there may be 15 or 20 or 25 people on each of these trips. And when they got there, they would meditate. And then, they would have meditations at night and in the morning for that area. Then most of the group would go tour, but someone would always be in meditation back at their hotel, either one or more people meditating for that community. And for the 3 or 4 days that they were in that community, the arrests dropped significantly. The auto accidents dropped. The hospital admissions dropped. There was just a whole change in the atmosphere of the energy of that city. And these were cities of millions of people. And here were 15 to 25 people that were changing the energy of that city by doing it in a united, one mind manner. So we have that kind of a power to bring about change and to bring about balance. And I would, if I ask or even beg, please, to the largest extent that you can, learn to be aware of the thought, the emotion, the feeling that you're having. And if it's not positive, if it's not constructive, if it's not coming out of love, if it's not peaceful, please replace it. And we can only hold one thought at a mind, or one thought at a time in our mind. And please let it be a thought that is positive, upbeat, empowering, and bringing balance into your life and into your home and your community and into our world and galaxy and universe, all right? And this is the one thing that we can do to bring balance to a geographical area much larger than the one we're currently physically occupying.
So what Carl basically is saying, it does begin, with us. And what he's speaking about is that we go into that space where we can connect with the divine, and connect ourselves with that, because once we connect with the divine, then it automatically places into a situation where we have a higher vibratory frequency. Then that automatically helps us to have better thoughts, of course, beautiful thoughts and so on. So one of the things that is so important, like Carl basically mentioned, is that we do that. And it's so important to do that throughout the day. Now, I know you've heard us say that at least do this at morning and at night. And because that's when you're automatically going through the alpha state, which is the brain waves of the meditative state. So that's one of our basic recommendations when we speak to our people, the ones that we are assisting and working with. And I'm going to take you through small meditations in a little bit. But meditating isn't necessarily an easy thing. And that's why when we speak about it, it sounds like it's oh, just do it, just do it. But it takes a lot of focus and it takes a lot of discipline. So Hamid Bey, who happened to be one of, I never met him in person, but he was my mentor because I went through the Coptic Mystery Schools. And he went through the Coptic Mystery Schools in Egypt. So he entered the mystery school, and he had a master that was working with him the whole time. And so he was taken through these different levels. And, of course, the first thing that they were taught was meditation. And that, of course, the first step of that is to be able to focus and then start to relax yourself. And as you relax yourself, then there's a feeling, a sensation that you're drifting. And your mind begins to let go of the thoughts of the day or the dreams that you had through the night. And it's in that space that you then can create, because it's so important for you to create what it is that you desire throughout your day, and also where it is that you'd like to go in your sleep state. You don't necessarily have to say, pinpoint it and you can, but you don't have to. You can basically allow the higher energies to come in and then ask that your divine ones be able to assist you and take you to the appropriate place. Allow the I am presence of yourself to take you where it is that you are to be through the night. And you may have dreams that are very close to what you're experiencing here on the earth plane, because, of course, dreams very often help us to process and to work through different things, even physical things. I remember working in the computer field, and I'd be processing my work that I was coding during that sleep state. So, but where you want it to take you is into a positive place, whether it is in the morning or at night. And I'm going to hand it over to Carl because he's waving his hands. Has something very important to say.
It's a good thing we can take teasing from each other. What they were telling me was, we all know that we're never alone. We always have with us our spirit family, and we have our soul, and many of us now have higher aspects of our soul, of aspects that are functioning on 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, even 10th dimensional levels. And they wish to express themselves through us. And if in our meditation, or if during the day, if we just close our eyes and take a couple of deep breaths, and with our heart and mind connect with our spirit family, and have that, in that just a few 1, 2, 3 minute period of time, if we send out peace and harmony and love to the planet, all right, that's going to help bring balance and harmony. So, and if we've got, I don't know how many million light workers there are on the planet, 10 million, 100 million. I suspect that, my guess is we're functioning somewhere at least 250,000, 500,000, okay, something in that range. And if we have this number of people doing this on a daily basis, not only at bedtime and not only as we wake up, but during 2 or 3 times during the course of the day, there's no way the earth and the human race cannot be affected by that. So we can be really powerful if we join with our spirit family, and in consciousness join with the other light workers on the world. And we know that we have a tremendous amount of help, but we have to ask. And before you do this, ask for your spirit family, ask for the angelic realm, ask for the higher dimensional space realm, ask for your soul and higher aspects of your soul to express themselves through you. Because the advantage that we have and the role that we have is we have physical bodies. And our physical bodies are essential for grounding it into the physical earth and into the physical hearts and minds of other human beings. So that is the role that we have to play here, whereas those who do not have physical bodies are limited in what they can do without that. But if we allow them access to ours, wow, their energy and their power can then flow through us. Now, this also means we're going to have to keep our chakras and energy centers open. And the channeling information is now saying that the light workers, those who are functioning at a higher level of consciousness, we now have 13 active chakras. And most of the 6 of them are 7 of them are within our body, and 6 of them are outside of our physical body, around our physical body. All right? And if they can work through all 13 of those chakras, we can be a lot more effective because of that. And by combining our energy and making our bodies available to them, our minds and our hearts available to them, that can amplify the effectiveness that we can have many, many times.
Okay, I'm going to switch a little bit here, Carl, and what I'd like you to delve a little bit into is what the channeled messages are saying is occurring on the planet. You know, what some of the things that you've been reading lately about the crystals and the monoliths, because whatever is happening on the planet is really all actually happening within us also, so that we can maybe relate to those things, so that we can, when we do our focusing, we can focus on connecting in that manner.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. The channel information for probably 6 months has been, there have been messages about these monoliths just appearing. You know, in the morning you wake up and there's a monolith, all right, that wasn't there when you went to bed. And they're usually 4 to 7 feet tall. And they have no reason where they came from, who did it, why they're there, etc. But Blossom Godchild has had a couple of channelings. One is on the 13th of July, and one was just on, I think, Sunday or Monday this week. And I highly suggest you read them if you can find them on the computer, all right? And it's the first clear explanation of what has been called the event. And the event isn't a single thing. It's a series of things that are going to be happening in a relatively short order that are going to help humanity and the earth take this giant leap towards the 5th dimensional level of consciousness. And it's going to start with energy coming, the monoliths being energized. The energy is coming from some of our higher dimensional planetary neighbors. And these monoliths are strategically placed on the Earth grid, which is, the Earth grid is like the nerve to the Earth is to, like our nervous system is to our physical body. It's a grid of energy lines, all right, and there's no part of the Earth, whether it's on land or underwater, that does not have this energy grid. And that energy that's going to activate it's going to go to 7 different points that are like gigantic Earth transformers. And these are at the 7 holy spots on the surface of the Earth. In England, what is that? Stonehenge would be one of those. The Great Pyramid in Egypt would be another one of those, all right? Well, these 7 energy points are going to be activated. And they're going to send that energy out through the entire Earth grid, all right? And they are going to activate 6 gigantic crystals that were buried in the surface of the earth eons of time ago, so that they could be activated at this time. These 6 grids or 6 crystals are going to be activated, and that is the energy that's going to be moving into our physical body, into our mental body, into our emotional body, and into our soul body. There's going to be, it's going to have different effect on different people depending on their level of consciousness. It will have the greatest effect on those who are at the higher consciousness, and those who are at a lower level of consciousness, the energy may just go right through without any lasting result. All right? So know that, and the timing on this, and again, channel information is horrible. They just don't function in linear time, so they're rarely right, usually wrong. But they are saying that this is likely to happen sometime either yet this year or at some point during 2022. So this will be a tremendous boon in bringing out balance into our life. Now, can you imagine the adjustment the Earth is going to have to go through? So that there may be a chaotic period there in personal lives as well as the Earth, in terms of bringing us to a higher level of balance, a higher level of consciousness. So again, Blossom, a good child, Google that.
Sananda.
It can be on Sananda network. Or
www.sananda.website.
You tell
It's Sananda.website. So it's www.sananda, Sananda, .website.
Okay, you'll have to go into the archives of that, probably to get that, but it can be read there.
So anyhow, what Carl's saying here is this is what she's being given. Now, what that reminds me of is actually the coming forth again of the many. They call them secrets that were hidden because they were at a point where they would be misused. Well, the time is near where the instruments that were used in the ancient days with the ley lines, as Carl said, from the pyramids to Stonehenge and all over the planet, those were all shut down at one point because it looked like it was going to be misused. As in the Atlantean times, the crystals were misused. So until the timing is right, they are, I always call them like cities in the sky. They're just waiting. Everything is just waiting to be brought back in when the timing is right, so that those different beautiful instruments can then be again used so that there's balance. And you are a hologram of the planet. And the things that Carl is speaking of reminds me of the chakra system of the planet. And I think that's really what it is. And we have that chakra system. So these monoliths and all these different places that are aligning would within us be our chakra system and the sub-chakras. And like Carl said, he's talking about the nervous system of the planet. Well, that's what it is. The nervous system of our planet, or the chakras of our planet, of us, is similar to if you were looking at a picture in a doctor's office and you see the nerves that are projecting. That's how the different, they start with the large chakras, and then they move on into the secondary and the sub-chakras, and then further out and out. So this is something that is occurring already, and they're starting to bring that forth. And so when we are focusing on our day, or what we would like to bring forth, is by radiating and looking at ourselves in the morning and at night can align us with the planet more and the activities that are uplifting the planet.
The timing of all of this is determined by the collective consciousness of humanity. And as we develop our self-discipline so that we're positive thoughts, positive emotions, positive energy, and amplifying that through our spirit families, through higher aspects of our soul, we are impacting the timing on that. We're helping to bring that about because the collective human consciousness needs to be at a certain level before it can constructively accept and deal with this. All right. So we all have a major role to play in when this happens.
Okay. Are there any questions at this point in time, or maybe some thoughts?
I think everybody is just enjoying the conversation and getting ready to do a wonderful meditation with you, Ortrun.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically lead you through what I might do as I'm waking up in the morning, and then what I might do as I'm going to sleep at night. And then you can also do this kind of little mini meditations throughout the day. Anytime you find yourself being a little bit scattered, where you need a little more centering, focus on going within for a few seconds. I remember when I was working, I was flustered. I'd go to the restroom and sit and take a few deep breaths. Something crazy like that, but where you're pulling yourself out of that situation. Okay, so I'm going to have you just make yourself comfortable and take a few deep breaths. And as you've taken those few deep breaths, it takes you to that space, that quiet space that you experience as you're beginning to wake up, that in-between state where you are coming closer and closer to being awake. And in that in-between state, in your mind's eye, begin to focus on the day before you. And take a few more deep breaths. And find yourself being surrounded by your beautiful, beautiful guides, masters, teachers, angels, your loved ones. For they are there with you to walk through the day with you. And as you're in this space, begin to see yourself waking up, moving from your bed, getting ready, interacting with your family, and sending divine radiant light and love that you have spread throughout all of your energy system, your physical, your mental, your emotional, and spiritual. Breathing and sending that divine radiant light and love to those that surround you in your home, and seeing the beauty, the love that radiates between you. See smiles upon their faces. See your eyes glowing, and see yourselves embracing and being filled with love, filled with love. Continue visualizing, moving on into your day, in the traffic, the honking of the horns. Take a few deep breaths and relax into that sense of peace that you experienced as you were waking up and as you were embracing your family. And on your way to where it is that you might be employed, send divine radiant light and love to everyone that you will meet and see their divine essence radiating from their heart, and see it radiating through their eyes, and see them with smiles on their faces. Find yourself creating your day to be one of harmony and peace and love. And take a few other breaths, and then find yourself putting your feet on the ground, on the floor, as you move from your bed, and joyfully beginning your day. Take a few deep breaths. Take a few deep breaths. And know it is a beautiful, beautiful day. That is an idea. You can use your own imagination how it is that you desire to create your day. But by creating your day to be one of beauty and joy, only taking a few minutes creates your day to be totally different than what it might have been. Throughout the day, if you find yourself falling back into a slump, the more that you discipline yourself to bring yourself back into that place of harmony, the quicker it will occur. As you remember it, send divine light and love into your situations, within yourself, your whole self, and all that surrounds you. And so it is that you've now walked through your day, and it is time for slumber. And find yourself lying your head upon your pillow. And there again, taking a few deep breaths, realigning yourself as you're starting to drift with your divine ones, your masters, your guides, your angels, your loved ones, all that are with you, the I am of you. And as you are gently beginning to focus upon your mind relaxing, begin to sense the I am presence of your being there before you, and you communicate with the I am. You ask that the I am guide you in your sleep, that your spirit family remain with you throughout the night. And so that which transpire during the night time, during that sleep time, that during that time, the I am of you guide you as to where it is that you will go for your experience. It can be close to the physical plane, but because you're overlighted and guided, results easily come in a peaceful manner. You may be taken to one of the cities in the sky, the universities in the sky, places of learning, and also communicate to the I am that when it is time to gently bring you back into that space of waking up, of bringing yourself back into the new day. sleep well, there is so much you can experience. New teachers, new downloads, new impressions, problem solving also. It is all there for you in a manner that is peaceful, that is filled with the love that is you. So sleep well. And when you bring yourself back, realize it is the dawning of a new day. And again, you acknowledge and go forth out into the world, being that beautiful, magnificent, divine light that is filled with love and peace and joy, and that radiates this divinity from the heart and mind, the divine heart and the mind that is part of you. You are love, you are peace, you are joy, you are goodness, you are strength. And so it is. So it is. So it is. Okay, so slowly bring yourself back and see how you have changed. Some of you might feel like you'd like to go back to sleep right now, but realize that you can bring yourself into that state of feeling love and feeling joy and knowing that you are never alone and that all is well when you're going into sleep and when you're going out into the world. You're blessed. You're beautiful lights. And thank you for having us be part of your day today.
And so it is. Namaste.
Have a beautiful, beautiful day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Carolyn Ortrun.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye now.